We're coming to you live from the New Investor Tribe studio. Today's episode brought to you by Kentucky Private Lending. Reach out to them today to start your journey.
I'm Hampton Scurlock.
I'm Milton Ali.
And I'm Koya, the owner.
Welcome to the Investor Tribe podcast. You know what? It's all new. Season 2, right? And speaking of 2, we have 2 times where you can see us.
Yes, Mondays and Thursdays now, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every week. Twice the Hampton, twice the Milton. And if you're wondering who this is Koya, the owner. There'll be twice as much Koya, which is a lot more than 0. So I don't know how the numbers look at that, but she'll be there twice a week with us.
Very excited.
Yeah, so here's the cool thing. Like, we just want to, you've been on a pod before, but then we just said, hey, let's just go ahead and just have you along for the ride to really help rein us in, right?
Right.
It's super cool. You bring a lot of you bring a lot of energy to the tribe, and we just are looking forward to learning from your expertise and
knowledge and youth, and you did a great job on the $1 Million panel. So I appreciate you going, being part of that.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, and I'm so glad to be here. And I think the question that everyone is asking is, 2026, the last year that small investors can actually build wealth in real estate?
That's a powerful question. Like, I don't know. Does it all end this year? Does it all end? I think it's a big deal because, there are so many headwinds that are facing the average investor right now. But before we even get into that, we are going to
spin the wheel.
And our guest, Margaret Weathers, I don't know if you can reach over, give it a good spin.
Give it a good spin.
What we're going to do today.
Is it okay?
We're good.
All right. Oh, Hampton wears a suit.
Woo! Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
yes.
Yes. Milton wears a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh my gosh. Hey, so it's going to be super cool. It's not like you don't know how to wear a suit.
I don't, but it's for weddings and funerals usually. So.
You know how to wear a suit. You know what? If we had Alyssa back on, you wear one.
The one time I got dressed up because we're doing an economic update, and I want to do my Milton Ali impersonation. I got a dressy shirt and coat, but you notice it was Hawaiian type dress shirt, short sleeve.
No, we didn't notice that because you had on the sports coat, and we were rocking. It was kind of crazy because we were rocking the blue. We both had on blue, I think.
Yeah, we did.
It was like
it used to be a thing years ago. Who wore it better? We need to have a picture of you, picture of you.
He should put up. Drew should put up a picture of us who wore it better. I mean,
call in for your votes 1-800.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a blue blazer, Koya?
I do not, but I have to get one for you all.
Okay. Thank you. That's it. That's it. You didn't know that, right? When you joined the Investor Tribe podcast,
I did.
You had to get a blue blazer.
It's like I'm
Margaret, do you have a blue blazer?
Oh yeah.
Of course. So we just rock we'll just have the blue blazer.
Yeah.
We'll just do
the
it.
Blue Blazer podcast. Now.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we got to do. Yeah.
All right, I'm out of the phone booth, and I've changed.
Well, you know what it is here. How to put on a suit and sports jacket. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what the wheel is treacherous. Mm-hmm. The wheel does it.
It got a victim recently with that bourbon, the non-alcoholic bourbon you love so much.
The best stuff on earth. It's the best stuff on earth. Don't speak ill of my of the alcohol-free bourbon.
If you need to get rid of rust spots, or you've got any glue removed, any glue residue you need removed, the non-alcohol-free bourbon got a good burn to it.
It actually does.
It develops a stutter if you drink it too much.
It's rough.
That's usually the alcoholic kind.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow. So back to the real estate investing part of our podcast. So
2026.
Is 2026 the last year that you can invest in real estate? And we have with us today Margaret Weathers, who is a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker. She's been in the game for 25 years. She knows everything there is to know about real estate investing. So no pressure,
Right.
Margaret. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me today.
Yes. It's super cool. So one of the things that we've been talking about is some of the fears that a lot of people are having at this moment. Like, we go to meetups all the time and we talk about this for the last several months. There's a lot of paralysis by analysis. Investors that you've told me you've spoken with who hasn't bought in years because they're just scared and they don't like the returns that they're seeing right now. They don't like the prices. They're waiting for another crash, so to speak. There's a lot of things to not like about the market, if we want to be honest, right? The interest rates are high, prices are high, and cash flow is not as high as it can be. And so there's a lot of barriers to buying. The average first-time home buyer is almost 40 years old, which is just crazy. I sell real estate for a living, and my youngest home buyer in 2025 was like 43.
Wow.
Gotcha.
And it was their second home, but that was my youngest buyer. So let that sink in for a second. And it's just, so I get it. There are some challenges and there are some headwinds. What say you guys?
There is, some discussion very, very recently, that there's leadership's putting a ban, federal ban on, hedge funds or large institutional investors buying any more single family houses. So I think they're looking at that as a way to encourage homeownership, affect affordability. But where does it stop? Is the federal government going to tell you, hey, if you got more than 50 houses, you can't buy anymore? And that sounds ridiculous a little bit to some people. And then you get on Facebook and you see what the state of Kentucky is trying to do. If you have, or an LLC you're a part of has 50 or more houses, they want to cap you or say you cannot buy any more houses. You or any members of your LLC cannot own more than 50 houses. This is a bill they passed, or they tried to pass it last year. It was voted down as government overreach and restrictions, and they're trying to put it in play again. I read about it this morning. So for 2026, if you've been a successful investor and you've acquired a portfolio and you've got 50 or more properties, 2026 may be the last year you can buy
invest.
real
So-
estate.
Yes, that's
The government says no more.
So, Margaret, what would you think? Like, we are here for the mom and pop investor. I'm not ever the one to front on someone's success. I'm not sure about 50. I mean, who wants 50 doors, 50 water heaters,
Right.
Yeah.
50 AC units,
100
50
toilets.
heater, 50, 100 toilets if you got two twos, or
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Like, you got 100 toilets. Who wants that? Okay, so that's first off. But if I had that, what makes you no longer a mom and pop? Is it 25 doors? Is it 50 doors? Like, so, I mean, I'm asking, like,
that's-
what makes you what makes you go from mom and pop and now you are a corporation that owns, because I'm mixed about that. I
Yeah.
understand both sides. I don't want no one capping me. I don't want the government coming in and telling me what I can and cannot buy. At the same time, when you own 50 houses in one local area, you kind of can control
A lot.
you have
right,
a lot of
yeah.
a lot of control. Even with 20 houses in the right area, you can control that area. So I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I think that they should address the larger picture. Why are those groups only the ones that are interested or able to purchase those properties? I think there's some work, with Revert in that, so to give opportunities to local investors or local homeowners in general, and that just needs to be done more, bigger, and spread out a little bit bigger, so that, and then give precedence to, local people, and they do some of that, but government has always done some things like that, Hampton and Milton, because they will tell you, like, small business, up to 50 employees, you have these rules, and then over 50 employees, you have different rules. And so, your workman's comp and all those things can fluctuate based on that. So government has done that for a long time.
And I know on some of the auctions, the foreclosure auctions, the bank REOs, they've got that process where it's owner occupants only or nonprofits or governments for the first period of time. So it has been that way for a while, where they're trying to assist homeowners or give them first dibs at some of the property or inventory that's out there. But I'm kind of torn on this because I want to see affordable housing, but you also, if people want to invest their money, I hate to see the government step in and say, "Oh, you've invested too much money, or you've got 50 houses, you can't buy a 51st house." So no matter if your business plans were set up and you've got goals and you've got staff and you've got you're managing property, that's part of your retirement plan, you may owe money on all 50 of those houses,
Right.
and you need a 51st house to keep feeding the machine and keep growing, or you need to get to 100 houses to scale up or to meet certain goals. The government may just come in and say, cut you off at the kneecaps and say, not in my state, or not here, not now. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in Kentucky if this bill passes, because it was beat. I don't know if it was narrowly beat, but it was beat last year, and they've brought it up again.
And my thing is, how will we know if they're going to actually stop at 50? If they go ahead and pass this today, how do we know in the future that's where to stop? You know.
And if it changes, and could they force you to sell and get to the 50 threshold or get below because you've got too much? If they say you can't invest anymore, could they force you to parse back your holdings? Or are you going to be grandfathered in? And who trusts the government, or who knows what the government's going to do? Who can trust them to? Yeah, you're putting a lot of you're being forced to put your faith, your retirement, in their hands to a certain degree, because they may limit you as far as what you can or can't do with properties you own or that you want to buy. And it just and that's just our state of Kentucky was the number 50 that was thrown out, and that may go down to 25. That may get changed. That may be lobbying efforts, and it may go up to 100.
Yeah,
it may stay at 50.
I mean, so there are some ways to win in this market. So when you're thinking about, will this be the last year you can actually do it? I think some other barriers could be access to capital.
Absolutely.
Like right now, we're talking about how right now the average car is going to be 50 grand, and they just rolled out 100-month car notes.
that is insane too.
100-month car notes.
Wow.
Okay.
And 40-year mortgages,
And 40-year mortgage. I mean, there's all these things, but right now, 15% of car notes in Kentucky, 15 to a little under 20, 15 to 18% of car notes in the state of Kentucky are over $1,000 a month.
Wow.
And so
That's
when
a
you're
mortgage.
dealing with that,
Yeah.
that's somebody's mortgage.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you're dealing with that, you're looking at a potential for a credit crisis.
Yeah.
So it may not even be, so interest rates may go down because of a credit crisis, not necessarily a housing crisis. There is a lot of dangers that are out there right now, because if people can't, if they're spending $1,000 a month on a vehicle, can they even afford a house?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Can they afford a house? And we're having these conversations. They can't afford a house. Their DTI is out of whack now. And so it's super important to even see that. One of the ways that we see that people could win in this market is through being able to do something called house hacking. Koya, what are your thoughts about how house hacking could help you get into the game?
Yeah, Milton, I love house hacking. As you know, we have talked about it so much. I think house hacking is one of the key entry ways to real estate. You can, it's so many different ways to do it. I was talking to someone recently that was getting out of the military, and they were entering into college. They were younger, and they were going to buy a house and rent out the rooms to their friends. So that's one way. Or you can buy small multifamilies under four units and under, and you can rent out each unit and live in one of the units. So I've done it, and it has been a big success for me with real estate.
And you're a lot of individuals doing it. It gets them into real estate. It's 1 to 4 units can be financed as an owner occupant, so it doesn't have to be just a single family house. You can get up to a fourplex if the numbers work, and you your credit will allow you can get approved for that type of loan. So, house hacking doesn't just have to be for a house. It could be quad hacking, is what somebody said, because they're buying a quadplex and they're going to live in a unit.
Yes, definitely.
And then they've got 4 units to
4
start
units.
their investment career.
I sold a fourplex last year, and literally the fourplex had all 4 3-bedroom, 1.5 baths, all 1,100 square feet each. I sold that I had multiple offers on it. We put it on the market for low 3s, ended up in the mid 3s for selling. And it was incredible. It was an awesome opportunity. And I was thinking to myself, I wish I had bought this as the first property, as my first home. Because it would have been great to live in a 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 1.5 baths.
What was it renting for? 12,
and it would rent for about, today you can probably get about 1,400 to 1,600 for it right now. Right. And so you're literally talking about just, breaking you're doing really well after 2. Like, you can have 1 vacancy. And still do very, very, very well, and not have to pay your own mortgage. That's just so house hacking definitely is a way. And so, Margaret, so from it's 26 years of experience. You've experienced multiple different cycles of the market. What feels different about the last couple of years as compared to the past?
I think that the younger generation does not value home ownership like we did 25 years ago. More kids are staying in their parents' homes, but to your point, they're going and buying these cars with $1,000 notes, not realizing that I've always said a house will get you a car, but a car won't get you a house.
Right.
They're backwards. It's I want to be satisfied. I want to have all my needs, my wants today. There's no sacrificing like our parents did and we did. I want it now. Nike, just do it.
No delayed gratification.
None. I want it. Instant. You're right.
I can't live in my parents' house right off the bat. Like, my parents worked hard and finally got their house, and my first house can't look like my parents' house.
Can I speak to that?
Go for it.
Why are the colleges putting granite countertops in the dorms? I was glad to have a room with 4 girls, and we shared 1 bathroom, and that was a big deal back, because way back you went down the hall to a bathroom and showered and wore your slippers and right?
It's very different now.
So when I was in college, it was me and 4 girls, and that was pretty good. Now they got their own rooms and granite countertops, and they're moving in good furniture and moving out the dorm furniture, and they're expecting, like you said, their parents' house when they're 19 and 20 years old.
My dorm, so I went to Prairie View. My dorm was in Holly Hall. Shout out the PV. Shout out, Holly Hall doesn't exist anymore. They tore
What's
it
the
down.
mascot of Prairie?
Panthers.
Okay,
wow.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers. SWAC. In the SWAC conference. In the SWAC, Southwest Athletic Conference, SWAC.
Okay.
And so shout out to the band. I was in a band, and so shout out to Prairie View. But
What'd you play?
pretty much, I was the rapper for the band.
Oh, you
I was a
were
rapper for the band. Yeah,
Okay.
yes. I was a rapper for the band. And so now, but the dorm, we had a small, 3-inch pad
Wow.
on it almost felt like it was a jail cell. It was like, it was like a little bed that had a couple of cabinets on the bottom, a couple of drawers on the bottom, and it was a 3-inch pad that you slept on.
Oh.
We didn't even have a mattress.
Oh, wow.
It was like a 3-inch pad, and my mom, I think, took me. It was the first time I ever went to a Walmart, because in Michigan we didn't have Walmarts back then. So when I moved to Texas, it was like Walmart. So my mom took me to a Walmart, and we went and got a little thing, a cover, and she just cleaned the room because it was not great. But to your point, and we didn't have kitchens. There was no kitchen. It was It was 2 beds. It was 2 desks. And we shared the bathroom Now the
Was
cool
it
thing
was it down the hall or was it?
it wasn't down the hall.
Okay.
We co-shared the bathroom with with the RA. Now
Oh,
the
wow.
RA was our suite mate, so that was kind of cool.
Okay.
So he lived by himself, and so literally to your point, you're now kids
It's
in
very
college are
different,
in
yeah.
luxury spaces.
Yeah, they're like luxury apartments. So
Yeah,
even
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, yeah. When I was in college, like I think they were starting to do stainless steel like appliances.
Wow.
When I was in college, so when I hear your stories, I'm like, oh gosh, it sounds rough. but
Yeah,
but
I mean, we couldn't even have a
No, it's-
refrigerator in our room.
oh wow.
You had to take it on down the hall. So
Koya, you're a few years younger than us. So
Yeah.
what would you say? What are some of your peers, doing? What do you think their mindset is? Or
Well, I think, like whenever I'm talking to different people, I think a lot of people my age feel as if they were kind of given a lie of what it would be once, they got to adulthood and seeing how much everything costs. Like they say, oh, of course, older people can have houses. The houses were only like $5, like that's what, they
they
think.
bought them
They
for $5 and 7 raspberries.
Yeah, I'm like the houses now
Well, the stamps.
300,000. I think it's also just a lack of understanding. Like you don't have to have $300,000 cash to buy a house. I think it's a lack of knowledge surrounding. Like I know you had mentioned Revert. Like a lot of people may not know about these different city funded programs that help you buy properties, and strategies like house hacking and things like that. So instead of buying a house, it's like, well, I can have the fanciest car because I know I can't afford the house because I don't understand the process of even getting one, So that's what I think.
I agree.
and I've heard too that maybe it's pricing, maybe it's also it's mindset where things nowadays are so disposable. Phones, computers, they don't last as long. People are kind of a disposable society. So I've had a couple of young people I've talked to about, what about buying a house? Well, I don't want to be tethered. I don't want to, be tied to a home, and I'd rather just, rent or, I'd rather have a nicer car or memories. I heard that a lot too. I'd rather have memories than assets.
Yeah, that's true too.
So
And
that,
I don't want to fix anything. That's a big one. Like, I can just call my landlord to
I don't want
fix
responsibility.
it. Yes.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's like some things is just literally a YouTube video. It's not it's not hard. It's not this very tedious thing. That's what I've even had to explain to my friends. So it's just I think it's just a lack of knowledge surrounding homes, the importance of it.
Agreed.
One of the agents that was in the office at the time was videotaping in St. Matthews. They were having when they were building the Topgolf.
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That went on over
That-
a year and a
yes.
half,
Long
a couple
time.
years.
Like it was insane. People were just going off.
Wow.
Yeah.
People were literally going off. So the Topgolf decided to build it's a smaller version of it. It's not even their regular size. It's a smaller version of it
Because of the people going off.
because of the people going
Wow.
off.
And that's
there-
such a good amenity to
And
have.
it was in the parking lot backed up to a farm, so there wasn't houses right over there.
Right, but it was light pollution. It was light pollution because you have to have all of the, you have to have the lights that's kind of how Topgolf works. If you ever been there, it's like a putting, it's like a
Driving range.
where you're just
encapsulated with nets. And,
right with
Yeah.
naps and nets and lights and all that kind of stuff. And so so it's definitely there. And so Margaret, what else do you see as a barrier that's been going on?
Financing. I think a lot of people don't have
Yeah.
savings. They're not able to save. They don't see
Wow.
the value of saving. So they're not going to have the down payments. I've had people that they don't even want to pay for the home inspection. Like you're going to pay, this house might be $200,000. You don't want to spend $700 on a home inspection to make sure what you're getting is of value, there's not termites or whatever. So just not having the financing secure and saving it all. What do they say that the average, how many people in the world or the United States don't have $500 if they had an emergency? You know, so the money aspect I think is huge, but we're not teaching our
Wow.
kids to save. It's the instant
Yeah.
gratification
Wow.
again.
Don't
Yeah.
don't even have the savings. You know, it's interesting. We do help a lot of people. I help a lot of people buy their first time home, and we talk about having, you know, $500 or $1,000 as an earnest money deposit,
Right.
having another $500 for an inspection, having another $500 for an appraisal,
Right.
and then having a down payment, and how that conversation tends to end at down payment.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're saying, how much money do you have? Oh, well, I have, you know, I got about $2,000-3,000, and I want to buy a home. I want to buy a nice home for a couple $100,000, but I only have $3,000. And so the conversation then switches to, well, do you want down payment assistance, or do you want to take some time to actually save up some money? And I've worked with people for 3 years to save like $5,000-10,000 just so that they can, you know, go into the process. And so that's a difficulty that, you know, I think me and you can relate a lot to when it comes to
I think if they
helping.
would just step back and be willing to sacrifice for a little bit, you know, maybe it is moving back in with your mom, or house hacking. I love house hacking, you know, house hacking, figuring out another way. If you don't have that capital, you know, go donate plasma. I don't know, figure it out, right? Because it's that, to me, it's that important. If you know me at all, you know I'm always talking about first-time home buyer stuff. I'm talking about, you're making a mortgage payment, you're just not making your mortgage payment. That's what I tell people all the time. You're making a payment, just not your mortgage.
For the renters out there.
For the renters,
Right.
right?
Right, and that's so true. I think that, of course, like I said, it's needing that instant gratification. But I do also think, you know, with jobs, like with the job market today, I think that the expenses are just more than what the job market is giving. You know, I think with like we just mentioned how cars cost $1,000. You know, and I do agree with sacrificing and things like that, but it's to get to someone's mind to even understand, like, how do you even sacrifice? How do you, because I need a car to go to work, you know? So how do I think about, oh, maybe I need to do more research on getting the lesser car, or how do I understand credit to get my credit score to a point
Right.
to where that car doesn't have to be so expensive, you know? I just think, I think the strategy behind it, you know, younger people my age, I guess, just might not really fully understand how to sacrifice. In what way should they, you know?
Right. But I bet you guys know how to do some trigonometry, but they're not teaching you how to work on your credit, you know, in school. Like, I know
Right.
you're a lot younger than me. But they didn't talk about that with us either, but our parents kind of did, right? To
Right.
some extent, a little bit more than you guys are,
yes.
you know, your ages are. But they don't know, they know how to do all these things. They know how to build websites and all that, but they don't know how to get their credit score, even pull it up, you know?
Yeah.
It seems like some of the younger generation
Yeah.
too. It's been, I hate to say ingrained or indoctrinated in a lot of them. They think money is evil, so
Yeah.
they're opposed to saving and opposed to owning assets, and it's not necessarily evil. The Bible says, you know, the root of all evils, but it's not. Money itself is not evil. You can do a lot of good with money, and you don't need to go blow it or, you know, spend it just
Yeah.
because you're averse to building wealth or becoming a capitalist. It doesn't make you a bad, you know, person. For you know, accumulating assets. But I've had some of the younger crowd, ironically, it was a wannabe investors. I'm so torn. My friends, my family, and my friends, people to school with, you know, nobody wants to, you know, be an investor or build up capital. I'd like to own a house or two, but I feel bad. I feel guilty about it. You know, if he gets to that point. So if you're going to be an investor out there, you don't have to feel, you know, guilty about providing affordable housing for other families and providing opportunities and building wealth for your family, maybe for many generations to come. You can do, and money, you hear it spoils people or changes people, but many times you can also do a lot of good if you are able to, you know, accumulate funds and make donations and give to church and foster children.
Yes,
and
there's so
do
much to
donate, you know,
do.
give
And you
back.
and I have talked many times over the years, we are the smaller landlord, and so we might let little credit issues go, and we work with them. I know you work with them,
Give
and I
people
know
a second
I work
or
with
third or fourth
fifth-
chance.
yeah,
Yeah,
chance, and just meet them where they are to try to believe in them, and maybe give them that boost that someone else hasn't in their past.
Yes.
So I think we get beat up a lot by legislation, local legislation, but we're really the people with boots on the ground. And I recently I was with Stacy Harris. We were at something downtown, and it was interesting because us investors were at the middle table, and all of the organizations, government were around us, And at the end, I stayed to say, listen, we're not the bad guys. Like, you guys are making us investors to be out these bad guys. And so I just drilled. I'm telling you, I stayed till they kicked me out. I sat there and talked to them. I'm like, I got this one that's doing this, and I got this one that's doing that. And hey, I've given, I've given up part of their rent back to help them go put their down payment on a house, to buy a house, So, we do a lot of good that the community doesn't see also to try to help those people.
Oh, yeah. And so I think one of the barriers when you're thinking about how to navigate that is, there's a recent study that talks about how just wages are not keeping up with inflation. So when think about that word, affordability is the word of the year, right? Or at least I heard for the last couple of years, is just being able to, how do you afford this? How do you move forward knowing that there is these headwinds that are hitting you, these headwinds that are constantly trying to push you back? And this type of dynamic is being able to buy a first home, being able to use that first home to buy another home, to buy an investment property, to build your wealth. I think, honestly, we have no choice but to start investing.
Right.
There's no choice. Like, if you are going to work a job and work that job forever, then that's just not enough.
No.
That will not be enough. Like, so the Bank of Mom and Dad, for my wife and I and our daughter, like, hey, when you graduate, here's a house or two.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a choice. Either you can sell this house, and I got this from Harry Borders. You can sell this house, or you can rent it out and collect the income. It is yours. That is the Bank of Mom and Dad.
That's good.
And I was like, yep, that's what we're going to do. Is because we have to figure out a way for our children and young people to be able to figure this out. And I think that, honestly, we just don't have a choice.
I agree.
Let me ask this. When did we become so soft? My people came over here, 150 years ago, didn't have a shekel, didn't know the language, I'm German, and fought and scraped in that to make something. When did we as Americans become so soft?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think, with the development of, not to go all in a tangent about it, but of, psychologicalness, people talk about all of these different like being toxic and things like that. I think people just kind of care too much about, and I don't want to say how everybody feels, but everything's a barrier now. Like, of course, things is real, like having ADHD and things like that, but everybody has something now,
right?
To where
difficulty is a trauma.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every difficulty is a trauma.
Anything that's an adversity is
Adversity is a trauma. Yeah.
And I don't know where exactly it would come from, but we talked about this the other day, and we mentioned, when did we get softer? Why did things change so much? I think it was before the computers were in everybody's home and everybody knew or could diagnose themselves with ADHD or something.
Yes.
We may all have something, but we were out playing tag and dodgeball and hit each other.
Rub a little dirt on it, you'll be okay.
Yes, crash up derby and be out till dark and just all kinds of games, drinking out of water hoses with who knows. But we all turned out pretty good.
I don't recommend that today.
I don't recommend it today, but we all.
But I used to do
I'm
that.
not scared. I'm doing it.
We were tough. We built up our tolerances.
I was raised on ginger ale. You know, like you get some ginger ale. You don't need to go to the doctors. You're not really sick.
That-
Get some ginger
yeah,
ale.
the
Yeah,
lights.
get some
that
ginger ale.
But the kids stop playing with each other,
Yeah.
outside
And
playing with
Vicks.
each other as
And
much.
Vicks.
Yep,
And-
Vicks too. Vicks too.
Yes, and so it is so cool to have you on with us, Margaret. Can you come back, because it is so much fun, like having you. And for those who know, this is like the second time that we had you on. The first one is a lost episode, which was actually like amazing, because it was, you know, it was.
We had a ball.
We
yeah.
did. We had a lot
We
of
had a
fun.
complete blast. Nothing was working on that episode. Like
We managed to turn a camera screen pink. I've never
Right.
seen a screen turn pink before, but it's not a good thing.
And so, yeah, because our producer was in Hollywood, because he
Right.
does movies
Or
and
Vegas
stuff.
or somewhere,
Vegas
you know.
somewhere. So he's literally doing this thing, and we're trying to call, and he's like, "Okay, well, what did you cut it on?" And we're like, "Dude, we're not that dumb." Okay, then we cut it on real quick. so we had to cut it on, and then it just kind of went kaput, and we
After we were
lost that.
recording, yes.
Which was one of our best, most comfortable podcasts. Like in last year, almost a year ago, we were just like, it was super great. It was just a complete blast. We want to have you back, Margaret. How can people contact you?
Well, they can call me at 502-664-9971. And then, or you can go to my webpage, which is Margaret Weathers at cbmcmahan.com. And I love to talk about anything real estate. Honestly, if it's investing, first-time home buyers, I do have a hot, soft spot in my heart for first-time home buyers. But I love all aspects of it, because there's so many ways to make money, to get generational wealth, and so forth.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate you so much. Probably wrap up for today, but sign up, join the Investor Tribe, invtribe.com. Join the network, join the group. It's free. We've also got our podcast coming out twice a week now, Monday, Thursday, 9 a.m. And that's a wrap for today. I'm Hampton Skurlock.
I'm Koya, the owner.
I'm Milton Ali. Skip the guesswork. Join the tribe.
The Investor Tribe podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We are not attorneys, financial advisors, or licensed tax professionals. The opinions expressed by our hosts and guests are their own and should not be taken as legal, financial, or investment advice. All investments carry risk, including loss of principal. Always do your own due diligence, consult qualified professionals, and make informed decisions based on your unique situation. The Investor Tribe podcast is brought to you by the Investor Tribe, all rights reserved, featuring Hampton Skurlock and Milton Aldi, executive producer Drew Cookenmaster, produced and distributed